The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, maybe even in some places where our audience comes in, it'll be good night. So wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us here today for our Crossing the SaaS Partner Perspective event. I'm Clint Gatewood, Vice President of Channels. We're going to hold off just about 60 more seconds or 90 seconds. So anyone who just come out of a meeting might need to go take a quick break or so. You have a little bit of time to do that before we get started. So just hang on. We're going to let a few more people come in and then we will get started. All right, so we're going to record the event today. So one more time for the recording. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you happen to be in the world. I'm Clint Gatewood, the Vice President of All Things Channel here at SaaSMAX. Welcome to our Crossing the SaaS Partner Perspective event. Talking a little fast, so maybe I should slow down just a hair. I want to thank everyone for coming today. We have some great material to cover. We will be doing questions at the end, and I'll cover that here also briefly. Our partner perspective agenda, just a little bit about why we do the partner perspectives, getting down into what the main event is. That's a little out of order. That's a little bit more towards the bottom, but I'll go over the format, talk about the partner perspective series, talk about our sponsor real quick for the day, and I'll introduce Nelson at that particular point in time, and we'll be off to the races. So a little bit of housekeeping. All the participants are on mute. We get a lot of people on here, so just make sure there's no background noise and such. Everyone's on mute. We're going to present first and then do questions and answers. Please type your questions in as we're going down the GoToMeeting and webinar. If you have it on your right side, left side, wherever you put it, there is a question box. Please type in your questions. If it's very relevant to the subject matter and I can get to it, I will do that while we're presenting. But otherwise, we will get to as many questions as we can at the end. So use the text box, like I'd mentioned, and then we'll go through all those questions and answers at the end. Kind of look at my bullet points here. And you will have access to the recorded event. So it's going to be on ysas.com, which is our blog, and we have other recordings up there of similar type events. So please go up there and look at them. And we're going to go pretty quick. So if you need clarification, please put in a question, and we'll get to those particular questions. Why this webinar series? Why the partner perspectives, and why should this be important to you? Education, it's from your peers. You're hearing it right from people that are out there like you in the trenches every day. We get real direct about things. There's no fluff. We like to talk about tips and tricks and try and help everybody out in the community here with what we're doing. And it gets you real actionable knowledge on adopting, selling, managing, and profiting from software as a service solutions. We may not, in many of these webinars, really cover each one of those particular topics. A lot of times we will focus on just one, two, or three of those particular areas. Today we're going to kind of be across the board, I think. So that'll be really good. I do want to thank our sponsor today, GammaSec, Trusted Website Security. It's website security with financial protection. So GammaSec is new to us as well. Been with us a couple months, but we're having a really great success. I would say 90% of the resellers or more that we're introducing to and matching up with GammaSec are moving forward with them. So it's a great product. It's got some good money in it. It's really malware, web app vulnerability and assessment, remediation, along with financial protection and data breach limited warranty. One of the things I really like about the product is it's one of the first ones I saw that come with a warranty, and kind of like an insurance, but we don't want to call it insurance, but it does have some good financial protection in it as well. And it can help you mitigate cyber risks and strengthen your and your client's business resilience. As a partner, what's in it for you? It's a white label model. We all want to protect our brands. We want to take things out to the market. It really is easy to integrate. I've seen the guys do some work and install it. Low cost of sales. It doesn't take much to sell it. A quick conversation with your client, they're either going to be very interested or they're not, and that's a good thing. So it comes with a multi-tier business platform where your clients can be set up and work with it, and it creates what we're all after: recurring monthly revenue or recurring annual revenue, however you want to bill it. So I want to thank GammaSec again for their trust in us to help them with their channels, and thank you to the partners that have already signed up with them. So today I get to introduce you to someone who's become a fast friend of mine, Nelson Brown, CEO of Omni Business Solutions. He is the president and CEO there and founded in 2004. I'm not going to talk much more about you though, Nelson. I'm going to let you do that for yourself. So if you'd like to say hello, Nelson.
Well, hello, Clinton. Thank you for allowing me to be here. I really appreciate you and the SaaSMAX team, and hello to the audience. And before I do that, I would like to tell everyone, listen, I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I am the sum of all of my experiences. And again, I'm very, very glad to be here. And in my narrative, I would just like to say it's going to be apples and oranges. Just think of me as a guy on the bench, and we're just talking shop. So I'm not going to stand on ceremony. I'm not going to use all the IT acronyms because we talk about that all the time. And most of the time, I'm going to have some fun. If I'm the only one laughing, so be it.
I'll laugh along with you, and I definitely found you. I found you very direct and you speak in very layman terms, not getting into the technology. It's just straight business talk, and I like
straight business talk, and that's what the clients want to hear. So I am the president of Omni Business Solutions. Clinton was correct. We were founded in 2004. I've been in the IT industry since 1984. Omni Business Solutions has 8 industry awards, 4 national awards, so on and so forth. We cater to the IT industry and throughout, excuse me, that was my phone. We cater to the small, medium enterprise organizations throughout North America, Europe, and South Africa. We do that by being vendor neutral, client centric, and requirements driven. And today I would like to give you some tips and tricks, and or from my perspective, now this just works for us, and hopefully you can walk away with some of this. You still there?
Oh, yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I have myself on mute. I'm on the right, Clint Gatewood. Many of you know me today, and Nelson's one of my first guests that I can say comes close to my handsomeness, but not quite at the level. So we're going to jump right into some topics here today. So, as Nelson and I were talking, discussing what we wanted to talk about here today, he's like, it's not about fulfillment, and this is what I think about that. So, really, I'm gonna turn this slide over to you, Nelson, and let you drive at it.
Okay, I don't know why this is keep going. Let me turn my phone off here. I can't see the slide. Did you turn the slide on by any chance? Ah, there we go. There we go. Let me go ahead and minimize that. Okay.
Go ahead, Nelson. We're good.
Okay, good, good. Again, it's all about the people and the clients. And what I mean by that is your engagement with the client. The first thing should be on your mind, or it should entail that what are you going to do to leverage your client's business to exceed the competitive landscape? What exactly is on your mind? What is in your portfolio to enable that client to hit their strategic goals? What ability do you have to show your clients or your organization that makes a difference to your client? As you have seen and as you know, there are an array or a multitude of IT solution provider businesses that flood the marketplace, but they are all the same. They are all the same. What can you do to make your business different? It's, you know, so what, you have a SaaS program. So what, you have an offering. Clients are aware of that. So what are you going to do to make that fulfillment 360? And in most cases, only you can answer that. You know what your business processes are, and you know what your strategic goals are. Another way to do that is to know their goals and challenges. And you do that by, of course, looking at their operational processes. And most of all, you get to do that by knowing them personally, by developing a relationship. Once you do that, they will definitely yield to your recommendations. At Omni Business Solutions, we believe in a good client is an educated client. If you go to our website, you see that we have some content, a little more than some, but that's to educate the client. We want you to have some type of information before we make first contact. Now, they may not purchase from you. However, if you educate a client properly, they will be back. Okay. Also, to anticipate the technological landscape. That is very, very important in regard to also what is the next big innovation in information technology. To answer, if you can answer those two questions, you'll be ahead of the game. Also, you want to position yourself so the vendor doesn't dictate what SaaS will be best for your company to add to your services portfolio. It's very important. Also, you'll achieve greater alignment with your clients when you enhance your line card or your business card. Another thing on the technological landscape and innovations that most MSP solution providers may want to look out for is cyber. We all know that. GRC, governance, risk, compliance, business intelligence, Internet of Things, and machine to machine. Now, you want to choose your offering to align with the next innovation, because now it's what? It becomes seamless. Your line cards expand, and you also get other potential business. So that's very important as well. Again, where am I on the slides here? Okay, in regard to research and functionality for specific applications, that's very important for your organization and leading your organization. Look into the functional testing. If the functional testing checks out, most of the time it'll align to the business requirements. And then that means you'll have succeeded in that particular asset. Also, stay abreast of the latest developments. Get on top of Gartner, Forbes, Wall Street Journal, CIO. You can even type in cloud research on Wikipedia. They will give you sites on what will be the best research companies that you can look into to give you more information. Also, involving yourself with SaaS applications. Ask the SaaS companies for the non-confidential specs. That's very, very important. That's very important in order to make those things happen.
Oh, you can check out ysas.com too for your information.
ysas.com is another good site as well. Now, we have companies that engage us directly since we've been in the marketplace and we're doing so well. We make them very aware that we're vendor neutral, requirements driven, and customer centric. For us, that makes more sense. That enables us to adhere to the fulfillment. For us, it's better to market to organizations knowing what they want versus onboarding with a particular partner and trying to develop a campaign and market to the masses. That doesn't make sense to Omni Business Solutions. So that brings us to vendor management. Everything relies on vendor management because your power, believe it or not, is in your partnership. There are many pros versus cons dealing with the right partner. However, there are a lot of pitfalls and minefields on the way to developing a great partnership with the right partner. And we came out with don't drink the Kool-Aid. Okay, so
Unless you make it
do not,
yourself.
do not, right, do not get a big glass of that Kool-Aid. Okay, they're gonna call you up. They're gonna be very, very excited. They're gonna say they have the best solution since sliced bread and the light bulb. And guess what? They're gonna be wrong. Okay, there's a lot of things you have to do before you engage in a partnership with, not just with SaaS, with any organization. And one of the things you want to look at is you want to involve your sales team. Are they comfortable selling this stuff? What are their thoughts on it? Swing it back around to the partner. What are the profit margins? Are you giving me here? Normally we start at 20 to 30%. Otherwise, you will be working for that partner, such as we all have been. And Dell, IBM, Lenovo, this is on the VAR side. We all know how that works out, especially with Hewlett Packard, not to badmouth any organization. This is coming from the horse's mouth. This is from my experience. From the deal registrations that go bad, you have to protect your interests. That is your function in your organization. So what do? You research the vendor. You ask them, how long have you been in business? What's your worth? What's your biggest client? How many clients do you have? How many partners do you have? Tell me the breakdown on your staff. Tell me about their certifications. What regions do you support? Are you worldwide? Is there any API with this stuff? You have, unfortunately, and and I respect our vendors, but it is a required process to make them uncomfortable. Number one, I found that most of these vendor programs and these partner programs are very mundane, and they're very the same, very much the same. So we have to provide a differential. We have to have a vetting process, and that's one of the reasons why I'm working with SaaSMAX. They vet their partners exclusively. It's not a wham bam thank you ma'am type relationship. And another thing, if I can, Clinton, I would like to say that when I was called by Brigant Hill. One of the things that stood out was that he was very polite. He was very professional. He was very courteous. And these are the things we're going to talk about later on in these slides. But that was one of the things that made him stick out. And he told me how SaaSMAX worked. He presented some partners to me, and I signed up with a few of them. So you guys have great value, and you fall in alignment with everything that I'm saying now in regard to requirements for a vendor. And when I do speak to a vendor, the first thing after I let them do their spiel, I let them have their conversation. And the next thing I'm going to ask for is, well, I need a company overview and a sales presentation deck, because my sales team, my VP of sales, we're all going to look at that. Okay. I would like to look at your draft partnership agreement. 9 times out of 10, they like to slide that in real fast, get it right back to me, and we can sign you up and we'll get your team trained. That's usually the narrative when you get to the contract. You should get that offline. Now you have the ability to pick that apart, and you will also have, some type of actually respect with your vendor, because most partners, most MSPs and VARs, they really don't look at them too much to pick them apart to find out if everything is in alignment. Again, what are the sales and marketing toolkits and resources? Are there any marketing funds? And you have to look at your time management when you do things like that. What exactly are you asking me to do? I had one vendor tell me that you and your sales staff need to meet with us monthly. You need to send us reports, and we need a business plan for you. So I said, well, I might as well work for you. So,
what's my monthly salary? Yeah.
Right. What's my salary here? And what makes it so bad, Clinton? A lot of people go for it. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to look at your time management. Look at what they're asking you. For instance, okay, let's look at everything I just said. Okay, you want me to have a meeting with my sales, marketing, and support staff about your product. We're not getting paid for that. Now you want me to develop a sales plan to get boots on the ground for your product. We're not getting paid for that. You want my support team to train on your product. You want my sales team to train on your product. We're not getting paid for that. Okay, now when we finally do get a sale from boots on the ground, I'm not even getting 20%. So you have to look at what you're doing, and you have to demand what you want. And throughout this webinar, I'll show you a couple of tips that we use to always get us to the finish line. Again, also, you want to ask for a demo or NFR software. You know, the best way to sell something if you know the product. And again, on the online training and resources, make sure it's online so your sales team can look at it at their leisure. You're paying your sales team to go out and make money, not train on a partner stuff. And that's something some partners need to understand. Also have an understanding of partnership levels. Again, now you may come into the door with 5,000 seats, 500 seats, or user agreement. That is a golden egg. With that golden egg, you can dictate your terms. You know, I'm bringing 5,000 users on our first deal. We're going to have to renegotiate this contract, or I'm going to go elsewhere. Also, look at their pricing structures, their commissions. Look at their support information. And also what we do is that we have our own NDA. We have our own no-compete agreement as well that our partners must sign. Due to the fact that we've engaged in some partners with some real bad deal registrations, and they've backstabbed us. And these are world-renowned organizations that I'm talking about. So, and also during the onboarding process, you want to speak to a senior level staff representative of the organization that has executive power during the onboarding process. A regular account rep cannot give you what you want, so demand that initially. And also, for every opportunity, you want to at least have 2 to 3 vendors on board for every opportunity, due to the fact that one of those vendors will go astray. And I think some of us have already experienced that.
No, it's great. It's great requirements, and it's one of the most well thought out I've seen from a partner in a long time. But what I really like about what you're doing is you're when you involve your sales and marketing teams in the decision process. What I think a lot of times, like again, don't drink the vendor's Kool-Aid. Everybody comes out and says we're the greatest thing in the world, right? On sliced bread, and they get you excited. They want you to do it. But once you start taking that down tactically, down to your sales teams, and they're like, "Oh, I can't sell this. No one's ever asked for it, or this doesn't make sense to me." And I think one of the big things in those requirements when you're looking for a sales and marketing kit, do they have a competitive analysis? Have they put the time in? Really, what you're doing when you're going through these requirements, you're really looking at how dedicated is this company and what do they put into it to make sure that I'm going to be successful with them and they're going to be successful with me. And anymore, I can go and I can look at any vendor's web page and I can tell you whether or not they've done their competitive analysis correctly, because what you really want to look at in their materials is, are they able to distinguish themselves and sell themselves? If they can't sell themselves, you can't sell them.
Exactly.
You want to look at things like easy to install. Well, anyone can say easy to install. I mean, everybody says that, or we have some integrations. Well, what is that integrations are? You want to make sure that they've got value propositions that really give you 3 to 4 pull positions or top reasons why your clients and you would be crazy not to do business with them.
Right.
And if you're able to articulate that. And that's really what you're doing here. And that's why you've been so successful whenever you adopt a vendor, that you actually are selling it and able to take it to market, because you're including the entire organization, one. So you're getting those ideas, and 2, you're really looking at everything that they have to make sure that they're serious and know what they're doing.
Absolutely. And everyone starts out honest, and I'm gonna, we're still honest, but the niceties start to run out when you have discrepancies. with your client on the fulfillment process. I came up with some quick tips to guide me through those storms. Let's cut to the chase. Vendors, and we'll get into it on the other slides, sometimes they can destroy everything you've built as well.
Yeah. And in saying that, let's go ahead and move on to topic 2, looking at now adopting your SaaS cloud. So what are the things that you're looking at as you're adopting it? Of course, you've done all of your vendor research, you've grilled them, and you're signing it up, and you're getting ready to adopt it. And where do you go from there?
Right. I look at the and we all know this stuff. I think this is this is the basic stuff, but and we keep it simple and we stick to the basics. But we look at the flexibility and resource utilization, how it's going to reduce operational costs. That's the first thing we look at. We also look at.
Is that for you and for the client, or?
Absolutely. We get up every morning to make a few bucks too.
Well, that comes down to, I think a lot of vendors go to market and they don't understand your business model. I mean, if you're an MSP out there, you're charging X, your costs are Y, and anything that a vendor can do to either one, increase your X, or what you can actually bill the client monthly, or decrease your Y, that's more margin for you, because it's all in that delta between the two, right? So is it
That's correct.
The flexibility on your resources, and does it also make sense from a client perspective?
From the client resources, definitely, because without the client resource, none of it happens. So that's one thing we look for. Also, we should have the ability to calculate, will we receive ROI? Will the client receive ROI in the first 6 months? Most of the time they will. That's across the board. But that is definitely one of the things we do. Also, we look at will it control financial spending on a large scale, since we do enterprise and medium type businesses. Due to seamless scalability, the cloud should have the cloud solutions should have the ability to control financial spending on a large scale. So we look for that as well. Also, once we are on board, we look for continued improvement. I think we should all do that. Is there over 80% percentile that the customer has enjoyed the cloud solution and the cost savings by adapting to the cloud within the first 6 months? So they're getting the ROI in 6 months, but is it beneficial to their overall business? We look at that as well. Okay. Under flexibility and resource utilization, the uses of policies, scalability, power management, and universal access. That's a no-brainer. Everyone knows that, and that's what we should be looking for. Under lower risk, this is part of the sales pitch as well, and this is something that we ask ourselves. Does the SaaS, do they have 24-hour responsive infrastructure on the cloud? It should be yes, so then it's not a SaaS. Do they have 24-hour support? What is their uptime? And we want the 99.995. That's what we want. Okay, that's what we want. Okay. Because once you start losing data, that is a scenario you do not want to get involved with. It can break your company in half on legal costs. Mm-hmm. And what you want to do, you want to be able to have a proof of concept on that. You need to know about their data warehousing, their data farms, their locations.
Yeah, and that kind of ties back to the agreement that you're going to sign with the vendor too, right? I mean,
exactly.
How much are they mitigating their risk in that?
Exactly.
Are they limiting it? Are they doing what? Are they throwing you out there to the wolves so you take the brunt of that lawsuit? Or, so that's a big thing in those agreements. That's why you want to get it up early and start looking at it. Well, you don't want to wait to the end to look at it, right?
That's right. You sign and go, And the last thing under lower risk is, do we have the ability to cancel at any time the subscription? That's very important. Sometimes our clients get moody. Sometimes we get moody. Sometimes a partnership is dissolved due to differences. I want to be able to migrate my client to another provider. That's very important as well. Another thing is data integrity and security. We look for impeccable redundancy, which, the offsite, disaster recovery, that's part of it. Data loss and security breaches will always be scrutinized by the client, always. But that's something that's a conversation you have to have. And the world of cyber is not doing any one of us any good right now. But there are a few ways, there are very few simple ways to get around it.
That's one thing I like about GammaSec, because they do have that warranty there. They do have that breach insurance that goes with it. They put their money where their mouth is.
They put their money where their mouth is, and we use the banking perspective. It's very easy to get around. I had a conversation with a CIO a few months ago, and he brought up the big security. You got cloud, the data, blah blah blah. And I said, I said, you're worth about $500,000 with all the gratuity and the benefits and your salary. I said, show me your money. Show me your money. I said, you're going to show it to me on the computer screen, right? You can't physically show me your money. Is that correct? He goes, that's right. I said, and you put it in a bank that you can trust. Am I correct to say that? And he goes, yeah, I put it in a bank I can trust. I said, but when you put your money in the bank, did they ever tell you there wouldn't be a robbery? Did they ever tell you that? Okay. I said, let's be honest here. He said, no. I said, well, this is the world that we live in. It's called crime. And there's nothing we can do about it but try to protect ourselves the best way we can. And I think you should know that. And then we use the plane perspective, hey, due to so many plane crashes, it's still the safest way to travel. And putting your stuff on the cloud is the best bet, the best bang to protect your data on the planet. So that's under data integrity and security. Under streamlined collaboration, what we look at is the productivity. Due to the cloud-based frameworks, can there be improvement with the overall productivity? And most of the time, it is true. And if so, we will look further into that particular SaaS. Of course, the ability to work from anywhere with multiple devices. We all know that increases innovative work cultures. We know that. Lower costs and higher performance. And that equals what? Increased productivity. We look at that as well. And also, can the client honestly spend more time on their strategic goals and cultivating their staff? That's another thing that we look for, because since we are customer centric, that is a part of our philosophy. That is part of our processes, is to make sure the client is okay. Without the client, we will not exist. So moving on to increased collaboration, team access, can we edit and share documents anytime, anywhere? And do we have real-time document updates, which can provide increased collaboration as well? The work from anywhere, that's exactly what it says. Once you have an internet connection, you're ready to roll. Mobile applications, do they have a mobile version? That's pretty much standardized now. That is a definite requirement for us. And the sales team and the sales model, I think, will be enhanced and increased working from any place, anywhere, because that's exactly what we do. My sales team is spread out throughout the United States. We do have satellite offices, but when they come on board, I tell them directly, I don't care where you work from. Okay, you have your numbers, you have your materials, go ahead and do your job, and I leave them alone. So that's very important, and we adopt to the cloud as well. So you also practice what we preach. Also, again, in adopting the cloud, we look at automatic software updates. The biggest advantage of that is that your server is off premise It's out of sight, out of mind. That's one less thing a client has to work with. They're also managed, again, regularly with software security updates and patches, which is definitely mandated these days. And that does what? It leaves the client free to focus on the business, on growing their business. Another thing we look at is capital expenditure. Is the capital expenditure free? Is it cutting the cost of hardware? Well, it should. It's on the cloud. Is it reducing operational costs? And I covered that on the previous section. The ROI in 6 months is very important. That's a baseline for us. The simple pay-as-you-go subscription, utility-based model, it works with almost any budget. Ease of implementation is very important. And again, is adapting to this overall, is it easy?
Yeah, but I just go back when you said ease to installation. I just go back and when you're vetting your vendor, you got to make sure that's true. Because everyone will say that. Almost
right. Well, that's where the proof of concept comes in.
Yep.
That's when I sit back and I'll jump in with questions and go ahead and make sure, because it is their job to onboard with partners, but it's also their job to stand by their product. And we make sure they do that. We love our clients. We protect our clients. We have great clients. And we have a lot of them. And I will not let a vendor come in because they think they have the greatest thing since the wheel to destroy what we have built. So, because I'm going to look for you. I'm going to look for you.
That's right. I'm going to find out where you live.
That's right. We're going to find out where you live. And also, the last topic. Hey, listen. We have to love where we live. Is it environmentally friendly? You use the energy that you only require. Is it reducing your carbon footprint? And overall, the planet gets love. So that's very important. Carbon dioxide and all those good things we need to reduce, and we need to preserve our planet in its entirety. Mm-hmm. So that's some of the things we look for. And keep in mind, I cut them short because we have a limited time frame.
Right, exactly. And we do need to move on to the next topic, but I just wanted to remind everybody that go ahead and we have a couple questions in, and if you have questions, please ask them and get them in so that we can answer those towards the end. All right, so selling and managing. I mean, really, as you look at these topics as we're going through them, they're all tying together. Because even if we talk about managing here, you really talked a lot about managing your SaaS and your SaaS relationships already, and also managing the products. So, but when you really get into selling, I like how you do that. I'm going to let you talk.
Right, and thank you, Clinton. At the end of the day, everything starts and ends with you. It starts and ends with your company, not the client, not the vendor, you and your company. And to the audience out there, I want you to think, why are you in business? What made you formulate your organization and go out into the world and take on the world and be successful? And that's your baseline. That's your foundation. And while you're thinking about that, what makes your company different in the marketplace? And if you notice, in the intro, I said there are so many plain Jane, mundane, no life after the PDF organizations. And I think clients see that.
And they have all the same websites too. I've been looking at, I saw a new format. I saw a new format for reseller websites, and it's like everyone's copied it. Now every reseller I go to, especially the smaller ones, they're all the same one. That's
right. And guess what? Clients see that. Clients understand that. And now it's you're projecting your business. Business is all about perception. So what does the client perceive when they see you, when they see your offering, how you present it? Again, we press upon the intangibles. We look at real world challenges, not some canned sales approach. We ingrain upon the clients through their thought process for them to understand that we're not here to sell you anything. We are here to simply explore possibilities. That's it. And on the way, if we're lucky, we can develop a relationship and we can make your business run a little more efficiently.
Well, it's very much consultative sales. You're learning about the client, you're learning about their pains, but you're doing it in a non-threatening way.
Right. Well, that's what the client wants to hear.
Yeah.
And I find that, and I'll get to this down, in a few other slides and a few other topics later, but clients are very tired of hearing that. And let me move on so we can get to it, because that's one of the juicy notes that I have. Again, an out-of-a-box solution doesn't encompass all solutions. Understand, just because the vendor has sold their house and took their son's college fund
to start a SaaS company.
Right. Do not drink that Kool-Aid. Okay. You have to understand, is this going to align with the client requirements? In most cases, if you try to do an out-of-a-box solution, a fire and forget type opportunity, it's going to come out to be a cheap sale, and you're going to be remembered by that cheap sale. Keep it simple, but make sure the solutions are scalable for future growth. Have the ability to be flexible, and have the ability to have that solution to have some type of customization available. We had an example with that with a client. It was a large opportunity. They were able to hit 95%. They said, well, look, we can't do the other 5%. So I said, well, you guys are a $2 billion company. Maybe together we can procure those services to get so many $1 million. Does that make sense? So sometimes you have to have the vision and flexibility, and that falls under have a good API also.
Well, that's the difference between thinking out of the box and offering an out-of-the-box solution.
Exactly. And that's what you have to do to be successful. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, magic is not going to show up anywhere. You have to bring the magic to the stage, just like an actor. No greatness will happen unless you bring it to the stage. So you'll have to be on your P's and Q's. And that falls right in line with, where's the flavor? We find, again, we grazed upon it. There's no savoir-faire in these organizations. It's the same sales approach, the same model, the same offering. You have to change that if you want to outstep your competition. Use other sales tactics besides the sales tactics your partner gave you. Call your clients and identify yourself. Clients are just so upset with that. I can go on and on about that. Again, what is your organization doing to make the client smile when they hear your company name or see your face? What are you doing to make that happen? What is the brand? What is the culture? What is your corporate footprint? What does it consist of? And the reason why we have this problem is that most MSPs, VARs, so on, et cetera, were great engineers. The owners of these companies were great engineers at one time, and they went out on their own. But on the way, they lacked some of the business aspects to take them to the next level. And this is why they partner with Dell, IBM, so on and so forth, join their partner programs. But if you really look at that partnership, you're losing revenue before you start.
Yeah, and the flavor is all about making yourself seen. It's differentiating yourself. And everybody's got the same websites out there. They got the same things. It's crazy.
Right.
The bottom line is what I wanted to say there when I broke in. I'm sorry, was that contrary to what most people's beliefs out there is, I would say almost every client that you talk to has some type of service provider already.
Correct.
You're replacing them.
That's exactly what you're doing. So what's going to make you stand out? What's going to make you memorable? You know, and these things are very important. Moving on, let me speed this up. Invest in good salespeople, increase their quotas, and leave them alone. And you can tell a seasoned sales individual, an experienced salesperson, by the narrative. On salesperson A, the limited person, will come in, they'll demand a lot, and they'll look for 6 months for a ramp-up time. A professional salesperson will tell you how much money they're going to make for you. They're going to tell you how many clients they're going to bring coming through the door, and they're going to show you a rough draft of their business plan during the interview. That's the person you want to talk to. That's a standard in our organization. We hire only business development executives, and my question to them, you know, great suit, great intro, how much money are you bringing to the company? Because that's the conversation we're supposed to have. If you're too timid to have that conversation, you may want to question what you're doing, because that's how you're going to get where you need to go. You ask them directly, how much money are you bringing to the table? Because that's their job. Okay. Life beyond the PDF. It's the physical engagement that's important. And when you get to their office, look around their office, decipher who's who. You know, are you going to send are you going to take them to lunch? Are you going to send them a gift basket? Send them a pen set. Hey, guess what? The receptionist is the gatekeeper. We have to be friends with her, him or her too. You know,
she controls it all. She actually controls,
right.
or he controls it all.
He or she controls it all. You know, so let them go. Spas are neutral. You know, you have to be careful on some of the things you offer these days, but spas are neutral. Guess what? Send the whole staff out to dinner or for lunch. Go ahead and cater lunch for these people prior to pitching that big proposal. And what we do, what works for us is, we do our recon. We get intelligence, during the lunch process. We talk. We talk on a level, and how many kids do you have? Are they in school? And does he have the Madden 2017? These are the the kids are getting that. Now that's going to work for you when he's off work. Hey Dad, I really like that Madden 2017. So I'm all around now, and that's a good practice. That's what we do. We get personal. Another thing is the CFO. Is the CFO in the room? Or the COO, someone from risk management, the deputy CIO, or any executive staff that can influence the opportunity. You do not want to waste your time with anyone else. It'll be a waste of time. Also, once you get 1 to 2 of them to shake their head, it's a slam dunk. Also, on your social media, connect with people who have influence. City council, CFOs, certain organizations that have their finger on the pulse of certain organizations where they can tell you what's coming down the pipe. That's some of the things we do. I don't want to give all my playbook away today, but also we will look at
1995, right?
Right. Okay, and we've got the last one here. Engage the human factor. That is definitely the stream you want to flow down. I find that most people leave that alone. Most organizations leave the human factor out. They do the PDFs, they do the phone call. Here's a white paper. Check out our website. Give me the check. It doesn't work that way. You must be memorable, and most of all, you must be likable.
People buy from people they like. It's still true today.
That's correct. That is correct.
And we are getting short in time, so let's get on to Socrates and know thyself. So
okay, know thyself. Right. Why are you here? You have to understand. Again, I grazed upon that. Remember the times when you started your company. Follow your vision. Remember the times when you had to decide on what bills to pay. Remember the time that you had to put something back in the supermarket. That happened to me. I don't know about the audience, but when you're in startup mode or when you're growing, those things happen.
I'm right there with
And,
you.
you know, I have no
Ramen noodles, man.
right. Yeah, shoot that bird in the tree, you know.
Done that.
You know, and also remember that, you're not alone. And this is why you want to reflect on how you start up. You want to reflect on what is your flavor. You're not the only organization that's offering a cloud solution. There are very, very many organizations out there with similar offerings. So you have to stand out. Just like what Clint Eastwood said, you have to know your limitations. Mm-hmm. And when you know what they are, you find something to supplement that. And then you're still back on path. Okay. Again, we want to move on to the honest solutions versus client requirements. The solution should be absolute. And it should be sound to parallel the business plan and the technology requirements. Do not put a solution in just to make a few bucks now, because it's going to bite you later. Quality is the word that is the operative word that we're looking for. Remember the right solution at all times. You'll never go wrong down that road. Also, even if you lose an opportunity, by always presenting the right solution, and you may have not received success on it, but you will have forged trust. Okay. You'll also build your image in the business community as well. You do it right, and you start establishing your footprint, and you're starting to make a difference in the community.
Well, if you don't win, and if you don't win that first deal that you pitch to them, they'll remember you if you do all that.
Right. That's it. They're going to remember you did all that. And guess what? In order to do that, you have to march to the beat of, everyone has to march to the beat of your drum. The client, the vendor must yield to your tempo. Always remember, you have the golden eggs and you have the golden goose. It works on both sides of the fence. For the vendors, you have the client. Those are that's the golden goose. The projects are the golden eggs. For the client, you have the knowledges, the services, and you've proven yourself because you didn't get that first project. So now they will yield to your advice. Okay. And also, who's watching? You've got the client, you've got the competition, and you've got your vendors, and also your staff. So it's a very tight doorway there. You can't drop the ball, but they are watching. So you have to run your business, make decisions, and bring your SaaS products on board to complement all of those entities.
There's more people peeping through your window than you think.
The world is a very small place right now. So the word travels fast on an international level. So you have to look at how you're presenting your company and how you are developing the respect for your company. Okay. Know when to control the client and know when to control the vendor. That is very important. There will be a moment when you just have to take control. Okay. Nothing goes as planned, and I hate to say it. And this is probably a rough word, but you have to keep some vendors on the leash because they can destroy your projects and they can destroy the relationship based on, and since we're speaking apples and oranges, and since we're on the level based on their greed. You're not in business to make them rich. They're in business to facilitate you, and on the way, both of you can generate some revenue together.
Yeah, greed can be a good thing if managed properly. So you got to keep the leash on both. Yeah, if everyone manages it properly, right?
Well, it's greed is like grain alcohol. Once you get a couple of sips of that, you just can't handle it. And of course, speaking of greed, once greed comes into the picture, as you just said, Clinton, use greed against them to control them. And you'll come out.
Well, people view greed as bad. It's not bad. It's what you do with it, right? And it's just a regular human impulse. And as long as everyone's managing each other's impulses and stuff and keeping people in check, and you keep yourself in check, everyone's going to do well together.
Everyone's going to do well, and by doing well, we come to the last bullet point. You are unique, and this is to the audience. You all have the courage to make your own way in this world, to open up a business. You get up every day because you believe in something. You believe in yourselves. You believe in your dreams. Something told you to do that. You know, are you willing to go a little further? You know, and if you are, as you embark upon that journey, remember this: you have greatness running through your veins. You know, everyone can't do what we do, so you're ahead of the pack. And whatever your goals are, it can be done. It's been done before by different people in different industries. Look at all the great names we know, because it took courage. It's the same courage that you have. And you have to find the way, you have to learn the way, you have to know the way, then create your own way. You know, that's what I live by. You know, there are no boundaries, there are only plateaus. You know, that's it. So, and the last thing I would like to say is we plan our lives for the unseeable future. As we embrace our plans, the unseeable future becomes our life. So remember that.
Excellent. Yeah, that's very good. The last thought I would say there is on your control of the client or the vendor. You know, even when it comes to your clients, it's okay to tell them no. There are times that you have to draw a line in the sand, and I've actually learned some of my best business lessons when I've told the client no. It doesn't mean you'll lose them, but they have to understand those limits.
Absolutely. I forgot. You're absolutely right. We've done that many times.
Yeah.
Many times.
So just a real quick here. So thanks, Nelson. We're going to go to questions here real quick. I do want to make everybody aware that on November 15th next week, we have one of our snapshot webinars with Seller. They have a fantastic product, especially if you're in retail for your retail clients. So make sure you come and see it. It's digital signage and using that digital signage through their social media channels and things in the store and stuff. So it's really cool. I really like it. So you ought to check that out next week, November 15th. And on the 29th, we're having our annual SaaSMAX CompTIA State of the SaaS channel webinar. We did one last year. It's one of the best researches I've seen that capsulated last year, and that is up on ysas.com where you can review that one. But they're very good, and I can't say enough about the work that CompTIA does. And this is a very good statistics. I'm really looking forward to seeing their statistics this year and compare them to last. So don't miss those. Okay, so we got about 3 or 4 minutes to ask questions. So please don't forget to type in your questions. You have them. Don't go away wondering why you didn't ask it. I mean, the only stupid question when it goes unanswered because you didn't ask it. So
That's correct.
And there's other people in the room is thinking the same thing as you, and you're all too afraid. So
that's right.
So we're going to go on to some questions here. Let me get them pulled out, and we'll try and get everyone out of here on time. So, is this webinar okay? So is the webinar geared for MSPs or SaaS partners who wish to partner with MSPs? It's really geared towards any type of company out there that is out selling SaaS, selling cloud applications to try and help them to understand. I'm answering this one, Nelson. It's more, I think, towards me, but
Sure.
it's really about anybody out there that has their business of providing IT services of some sort, or selling different SaaS products, or whether you're a VAR, an SI, a MSP, a technology consultant, or we even have a lot of partners that are CPAs that sell products. So it's really for anyone to get a better understanding of the industry. But we do get a lot of vendors on here, and I do invite our vendors to come because they really get to see what channel partners are thinking and what they need in their channel program and what they should have and what they're going to be vetted on. Any comments to that, Nelson?
No comments. It's open to anyone. I think this was a universal session, and everything you said I concur with.
So a great question here is, how do you balance solutions that keep the lights on versus introducing new solutions?
How do I balance solutions to keep the lights on versus introducing new solutions? What we went through in the above on adapting cloud services. There is a whole lot of meat that we didn't get to chew on that. There is a template that we go through to see if it's feasible. If it's feasible for the client, it's feasible for me. Mm-hmm. Now let's say we have reoccurring revenue and we run across a partner with a new product or service or solution. If it's going to save the client money and they're going to get ROI and they're going to be a little more productive, there is a very high chance that they will go on board.
Mm-hmm.
The trick is the migration. Now, if you could do that seamlessly, it's not a problem.
Yeah. So it's not so much about just focusing on one or two vendors because that's where your lion's share of your money's made. You've got to also stay outside of that, and because these other products can also keep the lights on. So,
right.
Yeah.
And also, to add to that, you want to have multiple vendors per engagement. So you need to have a robust portfolio.
Right.
So
Exactly.
now you have an opportunity to select the best vendor and solution for the client.
Right.
That will give you ROI.
And we didn't have, it would have been nice to have a bit more time here, but we have to cover certain topics or need to cover certain topics. But when you look at your vendors, if you're just selling one vendor and you want to exit your company, it's going to make it more difficult. If that vendor shut you off, you're done.
You're done.
You want to, if you're looking at selling your company, that's a different topic. And we've had webinars on those before, so I don't want to get too in depth in that. But you want to spread your risk across multiple vendors. So what, Nelson, as you look at your business ending 2017, moving into 2018, what percentage growth of your monthly recurring revenue growth do you expect to come from selling SaaS products?
23% to 28%.
And that'll be an increase?
That'll be an increase. Never down, Clinton, never down. Never down. Oh, someone's getting fired. Okay. Right, and that's due to the GRC, the cyber, the machine to machine, and the Internet of Things. Actually, our numbers are a little bit higher than that, but I try to bring them down so I don't blow a gasket. But yeah, we about 30% we look at.
Great. And we're going to take time for one more question. I know we're kind of out of time here, so I appreciate everyone hanging on. I'll get you out of here pretty quickly, try and be respectful of your time as well. What have you seen as the key differences between adding a SaaS solution from a vendor as compared to an on-prem solution?
The biggest difference is it's implementation time is zero. There's less work involved in a SaaS versus on-premise. You have too many moving parts. Now you're putting the risk back on your organization. For Omni Business Solutions, we do not call ourselves experts in any way whatsoever in this industry. So for us to keep individuals on legacy systems, that's a cost, that's an expenditure. Expenditure breeds risk. So on the SaaS, you're putting all the risk on the vendor. I mean, you can pop the whip. You have the control. The money's paid. Where's the service? And they're going to give it to you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So great. Well, we're gonna get ready and we're going to tie up here, Nelson. I mean, it's been fantastic. I knew this would be great. I'm Clint Gatewood. There's my contact information if you want to write it down or reach out to me. That's fine. Anyone out there. So, but I want to thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, and I thank the SaaSMAX team, and I really appreciate all the participants that came in to listen today. I really appreciate it.
Okay, and then getting ready to tie up here. I did have one more question come in from Gil. Do you prefer to go with a white label or with a known brand as a preference?
That depends on the opportunity. In some cases, it will be better to profile the client. Remember, there's power in the partnership. They're experts in that particular area. So if we are engaging, let's say one of our clients, Merrill Lynch, we're not going to white label that because we don't have the money to go toe-to-toe with Merrill Lynch. We're not going to create that image that we are this multinational conglomerate. So we'll profile the client and say, this is our partner. We're running point. These are our resources.
You mean you'll put your vendor first?
Right. It depends on the opportunity. If it's a large client, if we do not have existing a relationship or projects going on, most of the time we may profile the client. I mean the partner.
Okay,
It depends again on the pros and cons of the opportunity.
Okay, great. And I think Gil is he still on? Yep, he is. So he got an answer to his question there from your perspective. So again, everybody, thank you very much. If you just typed in a question or there's a couple other questions that I didn't choose to take on, I will get you the answers. And Nelson, again, thank you so much for your partnership, and it's been a pleasure, and I'm sure it's going to be a much more of a pleasure as we continue to grow together. Everyone on the phone, so thank you very much for participating today, and we appreciate your time that you spent with SaaSMAX. Have a great day or evening or morning or whatever you're having. And weekend's coming up, so play it safe.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Yeah, bye-bye.